This audiobook is based on our book about a key philosophical principle in medicine, without which a true understanding of human health is impossible. We extend the previously formulated principle of disease optimality to human health and human life, not only at the individual, but also at the societal level. In this chapter, we are talking about mastering the principle: medicine, person, society. Mastering the principle does not mean gaining full control over life, disease, or death. It means deeply understanding the limits within which meaningful maneuvering is possible, and honestly accepting that part of reality will always lie beyond our influence. To master is not to dictate terms to nature, but to grasp the conditions of the problem. The principle does not promise to abolish the end. It offers to optimize the trajectory up to the natural ceiling, minimizing the adaptive price of pain, chaos, and loss of subjective integrity. This is a shift from the illusion of omnipotence to precise navigation within the interval allotted to us. For medicine, mastering the principle means stepping beyond the outdated model of fighting disease as an external enemy. Disease ceases to be merely a breakdown to be repaired at any cost. It becomes a signal of failure in the configuration of nested functional systems, of misalignment between goals and means. To master the principle as a clinician is to ask not only how can we prolong life, but also what price will the system pay for this prolongation. And will this bring the person closer to their life's purpose, or merely postpone the first mortality while accelerating the second? Such medicine is less enamored of heroic, at any cost interventions and more engaged with the architecture of trajectories: prevention, early correction, preservation of functional integrity, and maintenance of autonomy. Each decision is viewed as a step in an optimal control problem. Treatment becomes not just management of an episode, but integration of intervention into the long-term WellSpan, so that the end is not a random collapse, but the natural completion of an optimal form of life. The physician becomes a navigator who helps the system remain in a regime of minimal cost functional. For the individual, knowing the principle fundamentally changes the tone of their relationship to health and decline. Aging stops appearing as personal failure or a technical defect that bad medicine has not yet learned to fix. It emerges as an inevitable manifestation of the entropic ceiling, which does not abolish freedom, but sets its frame. Within this frame, the domain of choice remains vast. How to allocate resources, which risks to accept, what to treat as one's life goal, and which trade-offs between duration and quality are personally acceptable. To master the principle as a person is to cease living under the inertia of prolong at any cost and to begin asking, how do I want to live my allotted interval, given that a ceiling exists? This shifts the emphasis from abstract longevity to the concrete architecture of WellSpan. A person consciously defines which states are unacceptable, and where the boundary lies between genuine treatment and mere extension of biological inertia. It is the triumph of reason that has grasped the rules of the game, and plays its part with maximal vividness of presence. At the societal level, mastering the principle dispels the illusion that the right technology will sooner or later abolish death itself. Collective resources are no longer directed solely toward assaulting the upper boundary of lifespan at any price, but are allocated with a view to optimizing WellSpan for as many people as possible. Instead of chasing records of radical longevity against a background of massive inequality, a different aim emerges: enabling the greatest possible number of individuals to live their natural interval with a minimum of empty years of painful survival. A society that has mastered the principle relates differently to life 92's limit. It neither mythologizes immortality nor romanticizes early death, but builds institutions that keep biological, psychic, and social systems in alignment. This is a policy in which prevention, education, mental health, and dignified palliative care become as important as high-tech resuscitation. It is a shift from a cult of duration to a culture of quality, where social structures support the integrity of the person to the last step. Finally, mastering the principle radically changes our attitude toward attempts to outplay the limit of life. Ideas of endless youth or radical bioengineered immortality cease to be seen as self-evident progress, and are evaluated as alternative configurations of cost and benefit. The question is no longer can we abolish the ceiling, but what will be the adaptive and existential price of that attempt, and will it not destroy the very structure of the subject? The principle does not forbid striving to extend life, but it compels us to include the full cost of such a step in the equation: structural, energetic, psychic, and semantic. To master it is to stop playing against our own nature in an effort to smash the ceiling, and to begin playing together with it. In this perspective, genuine progress is measured not by how far we have pushed back the first mortality, but by how closely we have been able to bring WellSpan up to that boundary without betraying our form of life, or the great current of renewal of which we remain a part. We will be grateful for your likes, and for sharing information about this audiobook with others.